So, hey guys, today I have a bit of a dumb, well, gimmicky deck idea. So, th let's start with Relay Soul. Relay Soul says, special summon one monster from your hand while it is face up on your field. You take no damage when it leaves the field. Your opponent wins the duel. Pretty interesting, self-explanatory, I guess. Card itself, I would argue, not that good. Trickstar Light Stage. When this card is activated, you can add one Trickstar monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, you target one set card in your opponent's spell and trap zone. While this card is in the field zone, that set card cannot be activated until the end phase, and your opponent must activate it during the end phase or else send it to the graveyard. So these are all the relevant effects. So the idea, pretty simple. If we give our opponent a copy of Relay Soul, specifically, we want this to be set on our opponent's field, and our opponent, logically, would just generally never want to activate this. But while that monster is face up on your field, you take no damage, which is interesting. It doesn't specify what kind of damage, so there is no battle damage that you would take if Relay Soul summons a guy. So that would counter, I guess, Yubel, kind of, in the sense that they can't burn you. But if that monster is removed, you will immediately lose the duel, you know? When it leaves the field, your opponent wins the duel. Simple, right? So, the idea here is pretty hard to execute, but idea, we give our opponent Relay Soul, and then we Trickstar Light Stage, targeting the Relay Soul. So, many issues. So, this right here, once per turn, you can target one card in your opponent's spell and trap zone. So, well, I guess we'll have to go through every single step. So, step one, our opponent has to have Relay Soul in their spell and trap zone, which we will probably be giving to them somehow and hopefully be setting to their field, I guess, if we are able to do so. And then we need Trickstar Light Stage, which is like fine. That's not the worst thing in the world. And also, because this is a trap, that I guess worth mentioning is that this has to be set like probably turn 1, and then we'd be activating Light Stage on turn 3, which is like another issue, right? So that's a thing we want as well. And also, while we're at it, we will probably want to be giving our opponent, perhaps, like this is just a maybe, honestly. We might want to be giving our opponent a monster, we might not have to, depends how like things go, but that's also an idea that we have to like kind of think about. Just giving our opponent a Relay Soul plus a monster, maybe. And this would have to be a monster in our opponent's hand, potentially, which is, like, weird, but uh, technically doable. For the time being, that it is what it is, right? Okay. And then, after this, we actually need to make it so our opponent must activate the Relay Soul. And to do that, pretty simple. So, this effect here says, set cards cannot be activated until the end phase, and or that specifically that set card, right? Yeah. Until the end phase, and your opponent must activate it during the end phase, or else send it to the graveyard. But what if our opponent cannot send it to the graveyard? What if it would be banished instead? Then our opponent inadvertently must activate it. So just some sort of macro effect, like maybe a Rysar would do. That doesn't super matter. Just some way to prevent specifically the trap Relay Soul from going into the graveyard. Then our opponent must activate Relay Soul. And then whenever our opponent puts a guy onto the field, we just need a simple way to remove it, which is not that bad. There are many ways we could do this. And then that would be a Relay Soul win. So the biggest obstacle here to start with is just how exactly can we set Relay Soul onto our opponent's field? Well, I guess we'll just show this off. Well, this right here, Ultimate Tzolk'in, once per turn, when a spell trap is set on your field, doesn't specify a player, you can special summon a Power Tool Synchro Monster or one level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro Monster from your extra deck. Well, the important thing here is that clearly that there should be something that does this. but by your opponent is like a little bit weird. I think there's one other one that triggers kind of when something is set. So we have Perform a Val 5 Rainbow Magician. Discard Gigadum. If either player sets a spell trap specifically on your field, not their own field, your field, while this card is in your graveyard except during the damage step, you can place this card in your pendulum zone. So this is a little more clear that this should be possible for your opponent to set a card. And of course, if it's like us setting our opponent's card onto their field, I can kind of get behind that. You know, I can see how that might work, right? So we have cards like this. Uh, let's see. Uh, so let's see. Maybe it's like this. Ghost Cherries. Overroot. Something like that, right? Okay, this card. Target one card your opponent controls and one card in the graveyard. Send that card on the field to the graveyard, and if you do, set the other card from the graveyard to your opponent's field. So this, it doesn't quite work because it would need to be in your opponent's field, and well, sending a card from your opponent's field, easy enough, and then set the other card from the graveyard to your opponent's field. That is the problem. Why would your opponent ever be playing Relay Soul? So no idea, right? So main issue with this, just to get this functional, is how do we get Relay Soul set on our opponent's spell trap zone or whatever? How can we do this exactly? Well, I have no clue if there is any effect that would allow you to set your card to your opponent's field. I mean, technically there are cards that allow like your one player to yoink another player's spell trap. So if we go to well, let's go to this one. This one's fun, I guess. Totally Awesome does this. So once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell trap card or a monster, quick effect, you can send one aqua monster from your hand or face up field to the graveyard. Negate the activation, and if you do destroy that card, then you can set it to your field. So not only is this effect optional, the effect to set is also optional. So that's pretty awkward, I guess. And then after this, there is also wait, could totally come back? Probably, maybe. I think so. Anyway, getting sidetracked here. Then there is like, I believe we have Wallow, founder of the Drudge Dragons. If the target is a monster, special summon it face up or face down defense position to your field. If it is not, set it on your field. So quick effect, you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard and detach one or two materials from this card, then activate the appropriate effect. So in this case, we can use the effect to set a card onto our own field, kind of yoinking it from our opponent. And then there is also Super Heavy Samurai. There is a Super Heavy Samurai card. So we have Super Heavy Samurai Thief. And this has the effect here: destroy one card in your opponent's spell and trap zone, then you can set the destroyed spell and trap card on your side of the field. And let's see. Optional to activate this, right? Wait, is this optional? Hold up. After this card was special summoned this way, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn. You attribute this card, then activate one of these effects. No, that's Ignition. Oh. So, yeah. That's not great, I guess. What else do we have? I don't know if there are that many other effects that allow you to kind of do this, but to just directly set a card like this, I don't really see it happening. To be able to set my copy of Relay Soul to my opponent's field, I just don't really see how this is doable right now. I mean, maybe there's a way, and I just haven't seen the card before, but yeah. This idea, I think, is pretty cool because this allows you to kind of use Relay Soul as a win con, and that's something I've never really seen happen before, so that'd be cool to share, I guess. Even if it's not fully doable. I guess it's doable if your opponent kind of like cooperates with you a little bit, but for the most part, no, it's not really doable. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. And I mean, if this is actually possible, I'd like to give it a shot, maybe. So, if there is a card I'm missing, I guess, uh, please let me know in the comments below. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.